Call the meeting to order of the Griggs County Commission at 1:04 p.m. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. John. Here. Dale. I can see you.
Here.
Ron. Here. Sean is gone. Troy's here. All right. Anything to put? Any additions or corrections to the minute or to the agenda? I wonder if we should talk about that welfare office and the county shop probably too.
Yeah, I think another item that we'll probably talk about is the EOC grant, just to see where they were at on applying for the next reimbursement request. I guess at the meeting I was gone, you guys directed them to turn in a reimbursement request for everything done so far. So anyway, I guess
we can probably do that under new courthouse. Old courthouse.
Okay.
Where would you like that to be added?
We can do that.
Ron Ball.
We can do that right above the auditor's travel budget.
Okay.
County roofs. Okay. Hi, Ron.
Hi. Thought I'd rather take a nap. I come up and see what you guys do.
Or take a nap.
You can do both.
We do.
Any additions? Any other additions or corrections to the agenda?
I'll move to approve it as amended. If there's no other corrections.
Been moved by Ron to approve the agenda as corrected. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we'll go over the minutes from the July 24th meeting. Did that fellow from BNSF have a first name?
Yeah. Do you want to have that in there?
Well, I wonder if we should. Reed's kind of funny.
Could you read? Yeah. Could you all look at that one sentence that he talked about for the fallback? He went really fast, and it's really hard to understand what he was saying in the recording.
It was just that if you needed to get a hold of the railroad, to get a hold of their general counsel.
Okay.
Because they can always direct you where you need to go. Nobody else was very available, but their general counsel answers your phone evidently.
Okay, so how would you like that to be written? Or is it okay the way it is?
I wouldn't leave it how it is.
Say what?
I say I wouldn't leave it
No,
how it is.
it was kind of really hard to.
Just state that
The fallback for contacting the BNSF is to contact their general counsel.
And they're
For the state, which is in Fargo, right? Or
Their general counsel?
didn't he say for this region, their general counsel is in Fargo?
Yeah, I don't remember that, but he said they're registered, so JD can find out easily
Okay.
contact information about them, so.
Samantha, do you remember the copies of this for anybody?
Yep, it should be in there.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yep.
So I wouldn't put for the county there.
Okay, so the fallback for contacting BNSF is to contact their general counsel. Is that how you want that read?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's fine, okay. And then I think that the paragraph for the 2014 audit needs to be revised.
Yeah, I gave John his notes back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do we want to go through that point by point?
Yeah, I think we better because it needs a little clarification. So this was right now. Okay, so this was the letter that the auditor wrote to the Griggs County Commission concerning the 2014 audit, and he gave us, this is page 6. He gave us 4 areas that we needed to make a determination on how we wanted to go with it. The first one was the cash paid to the building authority. This was at $290,000 of county funds for the courthouse project. They selected 4 funds to pay the allocation. The treasurer prepared a check for the amount and sent it to the building authority. There was no indication as to why it was sent to the building authority. The commission has the following options. I think we agreed to option 1 was the proper stance. Let the prior commission's action stand and charge those funds. The other funds, other than the general fund or restricted property tax levies, you will need to determine if you can use those funds for the new building. We can't determine that, we can't change it. We just have to let it stand. I think that's how it has to be. And that's what we determined last meeting. The cash received from the building authority, number 2, the county received several payments from the building authority totaling $699,000. These payments are for reimbursement of the construction costs paid by the county. The reimbursements were for the total amount paid by the county. However, the county was responsible for the portion of these costs that related to the EOC center that was covered by the grant. The commission has the following options. Number 1, I think, is what we agreed on. Record the payments in the general fund revenue. That's what it was paid back into, was the general fund. And the county would have to record the expense in the general fund or transfer the balance received to the fund that was charged with the expenses. We leave it in the general fund because the EOC portion, the county's EOC portion was paid separately over and above. This was just basically an in and out fund. We paid it and they paid us back. Mm-hmm. So number 1, I think, is what we derived was the correct answer for that. Allocate the cost of the courthouse between the county and the building authority. There is absolutely no question that the building authority, by the fact that they are a private non-profit entity, is on their own. And the rest of the rest of them don't make any sense. We agreed on number 1. The county can use the allocation used by the state in its grant reimbursement payments. This method supports the grant revenue and avoids having questioned costs. There's a risk that the state will exclude proper costs for the grant and all grant revenue may not be earned. Number 1 is what we agreed on. The last sentence in there makes no sense. If they okayed the costs, that means they paid us for the costs. So the only way to keep it separate, and as the grant provisions lay out, is we have to go by what they allocate to us, and that is the grant revenue. So number 1 there.
Are you saying the last sentence should be struck out?
Well, he just said that. I don't know why he made that statement, but he just said there's a risk. There's no action required by him. But I don't understand the risk. There is a risk that the state will exclude proper costs for the grant, and all grant revenue may not be earned. Well, they are the regulatory board for determining whether or not those costs are associated with the grant, so where do we go if they say no? That sentence makes no sense. But number one is what we agreed would be the correct procedure. In following through with letting all these different payments that have been made and decisions made stay with the entity that made them, that follows through with how we're doing it.
When John made that motion, he referenced that letter, and he said,
Yeah.
for this question,
Number one.
I move we take option number one or whatever.
Well,
and
'cause
this needs to do the same thing.
Well,
It got-
that was like word for word of what was said, and so then that's why I was.
Well, it got fragmented. It was done in 3 different times, and that's the problem. But it was, yeah. So then the last one, number 4, of the 4 areas we needed to make a decision on presentation of the building authority and the financial statements. Again, the building authority is not an entity of the county. It is an entity of itself as a private, non-for-profit corporation. It was done that way by design. So number 3 is the only logical choice there, and we agreed upon that. Exclude the building authority from the financial statements. This method assumes that the building authority is not a component unit of government, which is correct. You would have to document the criteria used to determine that it does not qualify as a component unit of government, and the very fact that they are in non-for-profit private incorporation within the North Dakota is the proof of that. So I think if we just send Harold the letter referencing the choices we made for each one of his questions, these were questions, and printing the paragraph in its entirety, or send him the letter in its entirety, highlighting the paragraph would be fine too. Maybe that's the easiest way to do that.
So then I'll go back and redo that motion and just put in word for word what these.
Well, I think we should maybe make a new motion to send Harold a response to his July 6, 2015 letter concerning the 2014 audit, and then we just send this letter with our responses.
Okay.
And then there's not much question what needs to be done. So I'd make the motion that we send Harold a response to the July 6, 2014 to the July 6, 2015 letter concerning the 2014 audit, and Harold would abide by our instructions as stated in responses to his questions. And then if we highlight those responses, I think that should be fine.
Yeah, you could just, in our response to him, we'll say.
That's as a follow-up to
Right.
this motion, which
That's
is
right.
passed, but
Right.
this motion still needs to be fixed. This is going in the record.
Yep.
This isn't how I remember it. You misspoke talking about paragraphs and whatever, but what we're really talking about is he had a series of questions.
4 of them.
So, question number 1, we want option number 1.
Yep,
Question number 2, we want option number.
That's correct.
That's how this motion
Yeah.
should be stated.
Yep, that's correct.
Yep.
But in response to Harold, then we'll send him the whole thing.
That's
So,
fine.
so yeah.
But for the record, this needs to be fixed.
Okay, so that is exactly how it's supposed to be then. In question number 1, response number 1. Question number 2, response number 1. Question number 3, response number 1. Question number 4, response number 3.
And I put the response, or like the wording in the minutes, correct?
Yes, put that wording in its. That's going to take up a lot of room. But yeah. But I don't think we need to. I don't think.
A motion was made by Wakefield to instruct Harold to complete the 2014 audit. Period. Or, no, that's not period.
Okay.
With the original proposal period. Because that was the right numbers.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yep. And I don't think we have to spell out the response. I think we just need to, the question and response number 1, question, response number 2. Because this now becomes a public record.
Correct.
So
We want it to be clear.
Right, yeah.
So you want motion by Wakefield to instruct Harold to complete the 2014 audit with original proposal,
Period.
period.
In reference to the letter from Harold, which presented the commission with 4 questions. The first question was option number 1, the second question was option number 1, and the third question is option number 1, and the fourth question was option number 3. At least in my head, that's how the motion was presented.
That's how it was, but it did get fragmented and was added on to it. So
You got that cooler running up there?
I do. It's not doing very good.
It's cool over there.
Option number 3.
yeah.
Ron's not gonna be able to take a nap because he's gonna be too
No,
hard.
this
It's
is
gonna be too cold.
Anyway, it's gonna, fun to be here.
Okay, so what I have, if I can just say this back to you so that I can get this in the paper this week. Motion by Wakefield to instruct Harold to complete the 2014 audit with original proposal. In reference to the letter from Harold, referencing for questions. First question, option number 1. Second question, option number 1. Third question, option number 1. And fourth question, option number 3. Perfect? Okay with that?
Yeah, that'll work. Could we make one little change to it? Motion by Wakefield to instruct Harold Rotunda to complete the 2014 audit with original proposal incorporating responses to, incorporating the following responses. Question number 1. Yeah.
Following response.
All responses from his correspondence or
Yeah. Just incorporating the following responses, and then question number 1, response number 1. Question number 2, response number 2.
Okay.
Because that will be, this, like I said, now this will be the letter will be a public record. Because it's in this packet. So if anybody wants to inquire as to what those responses were, or the question, they can come and look at this. And it should be easily to figure it out.
anything else in the minutes that you guys found?
Motion to approve as amended.
So
Moved by Dale. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on to the bills. That Abraham generator sales, did they get us a breaker?
Yeah, before the meeting, I was just down talking with Abraham Sales, and they're gonna install the breaker and install the remote switch. And then they're going
Oh, you
to,
mean the enunciator panel?
Yeah.
They're gonna put that in?
yeah,
Okay.
and then they're going to bring someone up to test run it before, when it's ready to go.
They're gonna have Ralph come up from Grand Forks? Okay.
That's correct. Did you have some extra copies of this? Well, I use this.
What's this? I mean, I know what it is. But what does it say?
New courthouse tax increase.
We're not paying tax.
That was. Remember that was for.
That's their fee for administering the borrows.
So do you have a different account you would like it to come out of?
Well, why does it say tax increase?
Because I think that's the one that I have it coming out.
Oh, that's what we call that account.
Yeah.
That revenue goes out there. Okay.
That, is that okay, or is there something?
No, that's fine.
I just want to make sure that that's. It should have been right up here. Yeah, so it's just here. Yeah.
Any questions on bills?
I'd make a motion to approve the July bills and August vouchers as presented.
Been moved by Dale to approve the August bills and July bills and August vouchers. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Monthly office reports. Anybody have any questions on the office reports?
I'm fine with it.
Approve the monthly office reports as presented.
It's been moved by Ron to approve the monthly office reports. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I assume the NDSU report was part of our monthly office report?
I would think so.
Okay. Wayne, you guys have got a good time there.
I was worried we were going to be late. On July 27th, Jake Lubman and I were at the East Central Region meeting in West Fargo to get the two projects that we wanted to move forward with. Would be County Road 22 from Sutton east 16 miles and County Road 28 1 mile south of Carnac west 17 miles all the way to County Road 3 south of Sutton. And they were both approved and we do have project numbers for them now. And also then this morning we had a pre-job construction meeting with Aztec and the state DOT, and got everything going there. It sounds like they're going to start August 14th.
Yep, next Friday. They're planning right now.
Start with the chip seals. It's County Road 19, County Road 2, and County Road
26.
26. Tom Gilbertson did finish graveling County Road 26 on Wednesday, I believe it was. And,
Oh, they didn't get done on Monday?
they didn't.
Everything was hauled in on Monday, but then they had to do their finish shaping
Oh, okay.
and everything. Shaped and watered and packed it again.
So I don't think we're gonna levy any fines because it was done pretty much. So got a little washboardy, but because the east end got a little dry, a lot of truck traffic on it, and we can fix it up a little bit. And I'll turn it over to Jake. He's got some things we're going to talk about the bridge.
The fines that he's talking about
Yep.
is they were
Contractual, yep.
2 days late or
Yep.
3 days late, but it wasn't a burden.
No.
So unless somebody objects.
Well, and I don't think he ever put in any rain delays prior to that. So if he would have put in for a rain delay prior to that, that would have extended the out anyway. So there was plenty of room there.
Okay.
Okay, I guess what I wanted to talk about was our Senate Bill 2103 projects. And on this map, I didn't give it to you, I didn't have time to get to see them. Just got made yesterday, I guess. I think we had talked last meeting, or maybe a couple meetings ago, about possibly tying a couple of the projects to make them bigger projects. So talked to Wayne about it, talked to DOT about it a little bit, and what we're thinking is tying Highway 15 and Highway 10 together as one project since they're very close. And then tying the Highway 3 projects together since those are also pretty close together. And then we got 2 bigger projects rather than 4 smaller projects. And we'll probably get better prices that way. I guess I just wanted to make sure you guys are okay with that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about also was the box culvert on Highway 15. Well, I mean, talk about the other one too, but first one. I think Wayne had talked about a little bit about it at the last meeting that where I wasn't here. But according to the hydraulic study, a 16-foot by 9-foot box culvert would be required to replace the current structure. And the estimated cost of that is about $500,000. So that total project cost would end up being around $800,000 for just the Highway 15 stretch. And I guess if you guys had questions on that, or let me know what you think about putting a box culvert in there. And
I think that's an exorbitant price to put a box culvert in.
I added to what the bridge engineer said it would be, just because I don't like giving you guys prices that are lower than what they come in as a bid. His actual estimate was right around $400,000. So
Didn't change my definition.
What's there now?
2 steel culverts?
Steel culverts.
272 inch. Right?
I was up there the other day and took some pictures of them. The bottom is buckled up, that's the one that was leaking. Maybe this spring, the bottom was pushed up on that one. The other one, I couldn't get close enough, I didn't want to fall in, it was too deep there, so. But of course, there's no disagreement that they gotta be replaced, there's just whatever you want. Put in there.
Right. I mean, the 272-inch culverts seem to be adequate. So what if we just put 2 new pipes in there?
We would have to. Okay, I guess if we were to use the state funding, we'd still have to follow the hydraulic study, so our square footage, our flow area would have to be the same as that box, 16 by 9. I did all those calcs, but I didn't bring them with. I think I was talking to the bridge engineer about putting steel pipe in there instead, and he said it would take, to match that flow area, 4 of the pipe that are there right now.
3 times 1.2
Approximately.
1.2 works fine.
Yep, with 25-year design.
Are they 80 feet?
56.
80 feet long.
80 feet long, yep.
The new ones would be these aren't 80 feet.
How big is the box culvert?
16 feet by 9 feet.
16?
Yep.
No, I mean, that's wide, it's 16 wide?
16 feet wide and 9 feet high, yep. So your cross-sectional area.
Yeah, yeah. So that's over twice the area that we have in there now.
Yes, yeah, I looked at that too to compare.
We're right now we've got 56 and a half cubic feet of area in those 270. Huh? Square feet of area in those 272-inch culverts, and that'll be 144 square feet. It seems like overkill, being the 72-inch ones made it long enough to wear out.
Yeah, but I think he's saying that you would have to replace those 2 with 4, right? Because in order to get the 25-year.
The 25-year flood event, which is what we're required to go by on a CMC route like that.
4 wouldn't even do it.
Well, I'm not quite, yeah.
4 is a little bit smaller, and see with the box culvert, we're required to sink those a foot because of environmental purposes, so the actual flow area would be more like 8 times 16. But yeah, when I first calculated, I was thinking we need 5, but he said we could get by with 4 in the model. So,
So what would the price difference be?
I looked at that. It looked like with the pipe, it depends on what we get per, what kind of price we would get per foot. 72-inch pipe, I think, run $350 a foot.
And they're not gotta be how long?
So should be actually a little bit longer because it's not as high. It would probably be 90 feet long, and that's to get the 4-to-1 safer slope. But right now it's pretty much straight down, and that's where a lot of our box culvert cost is coming in too, is because we have to make it so long because it's so high.
Tall road.
Yeah,
How much a foot?
I want to say about 350 a foot.
Just installed.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, 350.
Yeah,
Just
the
the
culvert
culvert.
itself is about like $70 a foot, and those 6 footers, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know what that one cost.
I looked it up. I think it came out like 150,000 or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 90 times 4 times 350 would be $126,000.
As opposed to 500.
That is installed or the price of it?
Well, that's using the $350,000 installed price.
$350 a foot is
Yeah.
what you said the installed price would be, right?
Yeah. So that's for 490 foot?
Yep, 490 foot. Yep. And then, so they want, and the box culvert was 500,000. That's only a savings of $374,000.
One thing with the culverts, and I don't have the breakdown cost with me, we would still need to do all the same dirt work, the borrow to bring in the flatten the slopes, so there would be some cost added on there. Do you remember what I told you on the phone, Wayne? I told you the price per foot of that box culvert? That's what we should compare it to, because just between the box culvert and then the pipe cost. Whereas the box culvert cost I have given you is the whole project as a whole, all the different bid items.
Well, they'll have to do dirt work on either way.
On both, exactly. That's what I'm saying. We still have that cost.
But, so we don't even have enough information to make a decision, is what you're telling me. Okay. Then we won't.
But it won't be done this year. Right.
Nope, we need more. And do we bid that out then? The culvert?
It would be bid in the project, I think.
Yeah, with the project itself. You could do it either two. We could do it two ways.
Yeah, could we just bid the culvert separately?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. Could you divide that out and take that out of this
Funding?
project?
Yep.
I mean, it seems pretty
Yes.
unreasonable.
Because it might be a subcontractor that does it anyway.
And, yeah, I mean, if the culvert price for metal or concrete are similar, it seems then we'd be paying $300 and some thousand for dirt work. That seems outrageous.
I think as long as we have the same volume
Right.
capacity. Yeah. Concrete isn't gonna rust away,
How long have these culverts been?
but I'm sure it's probably the 50s.
Yeah.
Of course, water stands for a lot, and if that could be cleaned up so the water would drain away.
But those culverts don't sit water.
Huh?
Those culverts don't sit
Oh,
water.
good.
I mean, the water runs in there a lot, but I don't know if it sits. There's a lot of slope on that road.
There's a big pond on the end of it, on the end of the outlet there that holds water back.
Okay.
Okay, so I need to get the concrete cost per foot. I could make a phone call and get that outside of the meeting too. If you guys want to talk more about it today, that's up to you. Otherwise,
We don't really need to, do we?
Don't have to. No.
Right. I mean, when we're gonna make a decision on this, I'd like the two options laid out with what the costs are for itemized costs for both of those projects. So we can.
Yeah, I would like to bid it. I'd like to bid it on a $500,000 incidental within an $800,000 project, I think we should probably bid that separately, yeah. I believe so. I can't believe that it can cost that much for labor to put those box culvert in. You know, either the price of the metal culverts is going to be a third installed price of the concrete, or if they're similar, then we've got a labor cost that's just completely out of hand. Because I mean, it won't take that long to do that. There's some awful big equipment in the county that can come up and do that.
They're not pouring in place.
You know, so I think the
Sounds like my roadinator.
it's the elevator.
I was gonna say the same.
You know, the inclination is because it's money that is given us to just say the hell with it and just spend it. But that's not a prudent way. No matter where the money came from, county taxes or state taxes, it's still taxpayer money and has to be should be spent prudently.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put two itemized opinion of cost together for that and bring them to the next meeting.
Well, that really won't make much difference because you're not using an actual cost. You're just using a projected cost, and I think we need to bid it.
Well, we will eventually.
Yeah. I do have a question on these projects. Is the county participation in it as far as labor and administration, is that a reimbursable cost?
It is, if the county is Title VI compliant. And I'm not sure, is Griggs County Title VI compliant? I know there's a few counties in the state that are. It's quite a process to get through.
Okay, they haven't done it yet.
Okay.
We're working on Title VI compliance.
Yeah, I think most counties are still working on it.
Why is Title VI compliance, why is being reimbursed for our costs tied to Title VI?
I'd have to ask DOT to get more information on that.
I think all these reimbursements are tied to Title VI. I don't know exactly what, but they are.
Well, how long until we're done with that? I mean, we need that.
I need to have it done by the end of September, before September, so that.
So we will be Title VI compliant by next year.
So then what administrative costs and what percentage of the project is the county entitled to? And for the time that Wayne puts into it and other county employees, what can we build towards the project?
Everything that has to do with the project. So you get material, time, whatever like the truck rate would be.
Okay.
We have to keep a track of all of it.
There's
Yep.
a form
Yes.
that they send out with those projects where it's similar to like when we do FEMA work, county force account. You have to have a cost on each piece of equipment, cost on each operator, benefits and stuff like that. It's all added together.
So shouldn't we be doing that in all these projects?
You know, I mean, so far, we aren't really working on the projects other than me.
Yeah.
You know,
But-
as far as my job, I suppose.
Well, right, but I mean, there is county involvement, and if that's why we have the county workforce is to do those jobs, and we should be, if we're entitled to reimbursement for it, we should be reimbursed, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go out and do one of these projects, then we would be liable.
Yeah.
We could get reimbursed.
So the next question is, could the county say they're going to do the culvert project and then subcontract it from there?
I don't. I think it would have to be the same.
I mean, certainly the prime contractor can get the bid and and contract it from there, and he's not bound by any price he pays the subcontractor, he's just bound to the original contract price. Why can't the county do the same thing?
With most, well, they've changed the percentages in recent years, so I don't know the exact percentage, but the prime has to do a certain amount of the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can't sub out 100% of the work. Or you probably know that already. That would be the biggest hold back of that. You know, as long as the county can complete 30% of the original cost or something like that.
But what are the regulations in that? What are we able to glean from this contract as a county?
Well, we could probably bid out the culvert
Yeah, that's what I was
project
gonna say.
and perform the graveling ourselves.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have to be one project.
Right, that's why I think we should bid these separately. It doesn't make any sense to keep sending this money possibly out of the county. Why not keep the money that comes here? If we get this money in on the state project and we bid it out and the contractor outside of the county gets the money, it goes away. It didn't help Griggs County. If we can do it locally with our own workforce or with a local contractor, then the money stays here. It's a double benefit. We get the benefit of the project and we get the funds circulating within Griggs County.
So projects like this, you know, if you buy me an excavator, yeah, I can do this project.
No, but maybe not in its entirety, but maybe the parts of it we can do, and maybe we're allowed to subcontract 30% and still be within the guidelines of whatever. I don't know what the guidelines for this are, but it has to allow county participation, and I think we should take as much benefit from that as we can.
Like Troy was saying, I think we could take the culverts out of the project and bid that separately. And it would have to be approved through the process of going to, there's like 3 or 4 people that are on the decision board now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you could run it through separately, still use that house bill money, or, you know, to pay for the culverts, to pay for the excavation, and put back in. And I don't know if the county can work with the contractor to do dirt work all around.
Well, we're speculating. Can we see the provisions? Can you give us the provisions of that so we can see what options are available?
As far as how we can spend the money.
Right.
Yeah, we can talk to DOT, talk to Brian at DOT and see what would be allowable that way. Basically doing a project with the contractor, but the county supplementing equipment and materials and time.
And what percentage does the prime contractor have to do the work himself? I mean, can the prime contractor sub out 50, 60% of it instead of the prime?
And I'm pretty sure the prime contractor only has to do 30%. So I mean, they can sub out 70. Is that right, Randy?
Okay, so that would give us a lot more options, and that would keep the money in the county rather than possibly sending it away. I mean, maybe a local contractor will get this bid, but for sure, if the county does the job, the money stays in the county.
Okay, anything else?
Let's see. No, like that. Or I guess Wayne did talk about the box culvert on County Road 23 too, right? That they determined was a double 10 by 10 box. One thing we wanted to talk to you guys about was, you know, we did talk to DOT and that would be eligible for bridge funds. So that's an 80-20 split. Or, you know, you could use state funds also for that. But I guess first off, is that a project that you guys would like to try to complete in the next couple of years?
How bad is it? I guess I don't know that. Is it inspected?
Yes, it's inspected, but it's restricted by loading, and we talked about that before. Of course, everybody goes over with 80,000 or 100,000 pounds over a 17-ton post. And we thought we decided maybe that was a higher priority to do than like that bridge up on that north up there.
Right.
Do we have any information on that in front of us here?
We've had it before, but not at this time.
Right.
Yes. We've talked about it before, and we're kind of thinking on deciding whether you wanted to use the bridge funds. Because Jake had talked to Brian and he said you could put it on the priority list if you wanted to put it higher than the Decker's Bridge is there.
Right.
And then there would be an 80-20 split. And
That was a lower cost because it's shorter, right?
That one is actually a little bit more cost because it's a larger, it's a double 10 by
Yeah, I
10.
know, but it's not going to be 90 feet long, is it?
No.
So that one, what was your estimate on that one?
The estimate was 600,000 to do the whole project.
That seems unbelievable. My house cost less than that.
Yeah. Would it be possible to put all this together so we have it all in one, something we can look at and bring to the next meeting? It's kind of hard to be making decisions based on something that was presented a while ago and we don't have the information on it, and I don't feel comfortable doing it that way.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. None of these are eminent, so.
Right. I mean, couldn't we have it presented all in one packet that we can keep and make a decision, prioritize them, and because we keep adding to this, and it's hard to add on when you don't know what you're competing against. So.
Okay. Can do that math in my head, I guess.
Yep. I don't have any more questions.
Okay. Do you have anything for us? Anybody else have any questions for Jake or Wayne? Okay. Do you have anything else for us, Wayne? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good weekend.
You do too. Okay. Hospital district discussion. Are you three hospital board members?
Yeah. No.
Oh.
We're committee members from no, we're not on the hospital board per se.
You're on the hospital, medical center, hospital district.
Yeah, that's the one that that's where the fun, yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting us today, and it's fun to see what you guys have to do. The hospital district was organized September 30th of 2008, and I've been on the board since it was organized. And the main purpose of the community hospital center hospital district shall be to help support and maintain the viability and continuing service to Griggs County by the Cooperstown Medical Center Hospital. So that's our only function. We levied, the voters said we could levy 10 mills, and we did. Last year we levied 9, this year we levied 10. And I have our budget here to give to Samantha. I like to keep things simple, but you always get roadblocks, so we end up with this levy limitations. So it took us 2 years to get a ruling from Corey Fong, State Tax Commissioner, on making sure we were legal with what we're levying. And I have his opinion in my packet here, and he says we are within the law.
Okay.
So with that, Cooperstown Medical Center, we levied 5 mills for general, and I've got the expenditures broke down if you want to hear those. It's just a bond at Citizens Bank for $64,595, the elevator at the Bank Forward for $8,872, the errors and omissions insurance for $500, the possible legal fees of $1,000, advertising and publication $100, the bond for Dave as Secretary of Treasurer $500, and then the difference then is the general hospital expenses of $11,578. The other side, the CMC insurance reserve, we levied 5 mills, which should generate $87,146. The insurance reserve fund, then in the expenditures, it would all go to the insurance reserve fund, that same number, $87,146. So we're trying to keep it simple. We're not trying to micromanage the hospital. We just, one board there is enough. It's hard for them to keep it open, and we're just there to help in the way we can. And we appreciate the county in their wisdom deciding that we need that hospital, and we're going to try to keep it open.
This just came. We were just getting ready for the budgets, and because of the changes in Senate Bill 2144, it brought to light the fact that these political subdivisions, the hospital district being a political subdivision, were not under the control of the county commission. And in the past, the levy has been coming before the county commission, and we've been approving it. That isn't the way that needs to be done. Once the hospital district was formed, the only involvement the county commission had was originally proposing that the question be put on the ballot. Mm-hmm. After that, it was no longer, once it was passed and once the hospital district became a political subdivision, it was out of control of the county commissioners. And so we just wanted to make sure that you were aware that you are in control of your budget, you are responsible for the levy, and that goes through the auditor, and there's a time frame that needs to take place there. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm in agreement with how you're doing it. We just want to make sure that we didn't fall into a problem and the county keep authorizing when they weren't authorized to do it, and someone bring it up and say, well, you authorized that levy and you weren't authorized to do it, and now we have to rescind it or vote on it again. And with Senate Bill 2144, you are now grandfathered in with the original vote until 2024, and then it will have to be voted on again. So in essence, it gave you more time than originally had. In 2008, it would have been voted on again 10 years from then, but now we have 10 years from the end of this year. So
we all hope it's still there in 2024.
Yeah, but anyway, that was the only. We were just trying to clarify. We weren't. Ron and I were just going through and making sure everything was in line, and we wanted to make sure that you guys realize that you're in charge and you don't have to ask our permission for anything.
Thank you for that verification, because I was kind of wondering before too how it worked, why it had to come before the commission. So thank you for that verification.
And it's included in the county levy, and it really shouldn't be. It should be separate.
And it will be.
And it will be next year.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's why we were confused too.
If you have any questions, you can call me.
Thank you very much.
So from now on, it doesn't have to be brought to you at all.
No,
not us. I'll leave it up to you to read what has to be done, because again, we don't have control over it. But it is presented to the auditor.
When is it supposed to be presented?
June 30th.
Okay, we'll try to make that deadline next year.
And then there's supposed to be a complete audit on file every year with the auditor also. But again, those are all duties of the
Do
board.
we need to hire an auditor then to audit our books, or where do we?
I don't know that.
I just hate to waste any taxpayers' money with all these incidentals that we run into, but it's impossible not to spend some money. I think we do have to have an audit every year.
What's left now of the century codes dealing with this after they got done with Senate Bill 2144 is 233002, 233007, and then you have 571528 and 15. Oh, and 3212.1-11. And that's the one that deals with the
Injury claim.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And they did away with the one the hospital. I don't even know what the nomenclature for it was, but there was at one time we thought that you were following the provisions where you could ask for 5 mils for 10 years or 8 mils for 5 years, but that's been done away with. So this is just a hospital districts now. And if you just, the century codes are real simple to read. They're pretty self-explanatory, and the way it looks, you guys are in. The way it looks, I mean,
Well, sometimes we needed an interpretation, and we were kind of lost for a couple of years. We didn't dare levy that second 5 mils because we couldn't get a ruling on how to interpret it, but then we finally did. So I think we're in compliance and we have our ruling that we needed. The hospital certainly needs all the help we can give them, and we intend to give them as much as we can, which is 10 mils, and hope they can keep the doors open. So that's our function.
And you don't need our blessing.
Well, I'd like to have a thank you.
I know. With blessing comes responsibility. We'll just leave it alone. Leave that word. Yeah.
Please prepared enough to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can cross that off the list then, because then it was just a bookkeeping. It was just a bookkeeping item to get when we're putting our budget together.
Okay.
Very good. I think you guys are doing a good job. Hopefully we can keep going.
We're done tomorrow.
We are not so much into what else I could come up with. Use the elevator.
I'm gonna use the elevator.
You guys get to listen to that.
That's my semi-annual cut. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, see you.
See, Gary.
Gary, it's a lot easier going down the stairs than up them.
Sit down on your rump and
Oh, you probably welcome the opportunity to push.
You'll get down one way or the other. Up, if you fall down, you just stay where you're at.
I have more trouble going down than I do up.
Yeah.
I got knees and hips that don't work, and
Tuck and roll.
a heart that I should do.
Make a motion, we take a 10-minute.
come on.
5-minute break. Yeah.
Was it 10 minutes or 5?
Yeah.
Well, what's the motion?
I move we make have a 10-minute break.
Been moved by John, then we take a 10-minute break. Is our second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. The motion passes by the looks of the lack of voters left in the room.
So when are we getting into the new courthouse?
It's on the agenda.
Good. Maybe we should stay for that. That's kind of- You'll have them in there by winter?
Yeah, he's done with the EOC stuff.
Can I get anybody back to work on the other side of it, the courthouse side, or is it hard to get? It's the county's courthouse, so it's gonna have to get county. Yeah, and in fact they do. That's just the minor technicality.
We don't have any money.
buildings don't have any money to finish it. No. I mean, you have to take ownership of it.
Project is underfunded.
Well, that's not uncommon, I would suppose. But you need to take ownership of it and get in there.
The only way we could take ownership of it is if we had a vote to let a bond and pay off the existing bonds, but the existing bonds aren't callable until 2021. So you would have to pay interest twice on those funds that aren't callable yet.
Maybe we just have to do a bridging fund to finance the amount that's underfunded so you can get it done.
We need to do some research on whether or not we can do that and put money into a building we don't own. I don't know if that's good or not. There might be a way to do it, but I don't know what it is.
It gets complicated.
It's a lot more complicated when you do it the wrong way.
Say, did Jamie ever get a paralegal? You are, okay.
I'm waiting quietly to be
And your name is?
Leanne Milbertson.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking you were the girlfriend or something. Was that
Oh. No.
Okay.
No.
Are you related to Gilbertsons and Biddeford?
I'm Tim Gilbert's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just a stranger.
Yeah.
You walk to work.
Huh? Yeah, I could.
You are close by.
Eventually.
So how are things going at the law?
Okay, yeah. Dragging away, another month or more, I guess, to do, and then we should be done.
I suppose we did as well. We can't do any good here.
Yeah, no, because
Because of any help.
would just be interference.
Yeah.
We're not interesting enough.
It's so frustrating how complicated things have to be.
Well, you should be here every 2 weeks.
Well, yeah.
Is your airstrip busy this summer?
Yeah, it's been busy, yeah, just, the plane's in for an annual right now, so.
Oh, okay.
I think it's done, so.
Oh, your own one. I thought Randy was flying out of there.
Well, he was too, yeah, so it's been busy that way too, yeah. In fact, he was just out there this past week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Spraying beans.
I think so, it must have been.
Yep. Whacked out, he's going around without a red nose.
No, he had one there before, though, didn't he?
I don't think so.
He had one on the, little plant.
Oh, over on the corner.
Yeah.
He's building one right across the street from his house. Right, going east from the road there. He's
Really?
strip of land from the Bible camp.
Oh, no kidding.
He's had Don Ball up there moving dirt this week.
Well, isn't there kind of some hills and valleys there?
Well, there won't be.
That'll be interesting. Yeah.
He's gonna build a hangar right there on the other side of the trees.
Okay, yeah.
And then runway will go from there east.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a long one, but
Well, I can't be easy, because he'll end up in that slough.
he bought a Super Cub, so I think it's just 600 feet or something.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's pretty short. Pretty short. Yeah. Well, it's too short for most people.
Don said there's lots of rocks up there.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, I know that for a fact.
Dale,
I've been in that stuff.
who made the
Well, I think
motion
you're
for
familiar with
Yeah.
that territory.
breaking
Go
the
into
second?
it.
Do you remember?
John made the motion.
Well, you guys have fun.
Yeah, we'll see you, David.
Take care.
See you later, you too.
Do you want a second?
Yep. You renting out your new trailer, Dale?
Fuck that.
Come get it. Is that a dual tandem?
No.
Oh, singles? Call the meeting back to order. I think the next thing we'll talk about is the county roads. I guess I didn't even know that the county shop had an issue.
Just what?
That's a social services building.
Okay.
And, you know, we've had Redland Johnson come up here a couple times because they put the windows and the siding on that building.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls called me yesterday afternoon when it was raining here, and they said the water was running down the walls in there. Well, the the Redland guy finally crawled up on the roof and looked at the way that it's a ballasted membrane roof on that thing, and the rubber membrane comes up the side, he said about 1.5 inches, and then it's flashed over the top. And apparently the water can't get off the roof fast enough, and it pools in there high enough so that it runs over the membrane and right down the walls on the inside of the building. So I don't know if that building was roofed when that was purchased, when they were doing that remodel, if this is a warranty deal. I did call D&D Roofing and asked him to call me back. We should probably just have him look at it. I don't know anybody else around here that does that type of roofing.
Yeah. I mean, the fix to it is just where the rubber comes out.
Add on to it.
Yeah, or just seal it with a rubberized. The beauty shop is the same roof on that, and that's what you got to do that about every 10 years on that. It comes up higher than that, but the rubber pulls away, and then you just go fasten the rubber back on and then put a strip of the rubberized roofing on there, and then done.
Anyway, can't have it running in that building.
No.
No, I don't know if we got a mold issue in their walls now again. You know, they stripped that building out because it had mold in it, but then they didn't fix it, so now it's the same thing again.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get the roof looked at first.
Have to get the roof fixed first. And then Wayne said that there's a couple places where the county roof is leaking. Is that right?
He said something about it.
So when Dale comes down here to look at that one, I'll probably have him look at that one too. Okay. Auditor's travel budget.
Huh.
You want me to take this one? We got 2 rookies in the auditor's office, and that budget was passed prior to their arrival.
Yep.
And they're thinking they're gonna need more training than was in the budget. So they're afraid that they're gonna go over if they take advantage of some of this training that's available. So I think we should go to the training and figure out how to fix it at the end of the year.
Yeah, as long as the training is not in Key West.
You know, there's a conference in Vegas. No.
You go there, then what goes to Vegas stays in Vegas. That might be you. No, that's all fine with me.
So, yeah, that was just to let everybody know that there's probably going to be a little bit of a overage in that budget. Storage agreement. Didn't we talk about that last time?
Mm-mm.
We didn't because Jamie wasn't here. What's the skinny?
Well, that is for
Did we pay it?
2 things, and one of them I have no idea. It's motors or motorcycle in there, and I don't know what's going on with that. But the other one is for walk van, and I wanted to stick around until after we got done with that appeal, and it can be sold now or disposed of or whatever needs to be done with it. But I part of that bill was my fault because I said I want to keep the van around. That motorcycle, I have no idea what that is. So I don't know that. I think the county should pay it, but I don't know where you want to pay it from. Because we did use the storage facility from the city. I mean, there's probably 2 spots taken, so I think the city's entitled to that money.
Did.
And then have them kick get them all there.
Where are you going to put them?
Hmm?
Where are you going to put them?
Well, I think we can have a sheriff's sale now on that van.
That's over? Oh, okay. So,
And
But the motorcycle that's in there, I don't know. That's not. I don't have anything to do with that. That's
Who
Bob's,
does?
That's Bob or Terry's thing. So I don't know what to do with that one.
Terry,
Great.
he ain't around much.
No, I don't know. But
Whose motorcycle is it?
I think it was a confiscated one or something. I don't know much about it. All I know is that there's a motorcycle in it. That's about all I know.
Well-
But I know about the van. That's what I do know about.
I'm
I
sure
has to
that-
keep it around.
Okay.
So should we instruct the city, or have Jamie instruct the city that they can be, and we'll move all of it, pay the bill out of the state's attorney, and we'll just give the money, we'll reimburse the state's attorney's budget for it? More than likely, the reason the van was there for certain, and the motorcycle because it was evidence, so I mean, that.
Oh yeah, I am not sure what that van.
No, but the state's attorney is in charge of evidence, not the
Right.
sheriff.
Yeah. So anyway, just, yeah, I think we pay it and either put it in the sheriff's sale or give it to the city or do something like it, trying to get it over.
Would you like to put that in form of a motion?
I move that we instruct the state's attorney to inform the city that, we will be done with the storage of the van and the motorcycle and we'll be removing them. And the account be credited, be debited against the state's attorney's budget and will be reimbursed out of the general at year end.
Second to the motion? Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale? Ron? Troy votes aye. Motion carries. See ya.
Okay, Sam already told you that the budget wasn't entirely correct. We got an email right this morning after we already had submitted it that we needed to make some changes. So
Right.
it's only like a 585 difference on one page and 3,500 on another.
Those worksheets didn't look complete.
You know what? Some of those figures we don't know what they're for. Like on the, let's start on the.
You're gonna replace some of that, or?
We have never done those before, like where it lists the revenues there, we go down.
Right.
We haven't, all these numbers that are in parentheses, I don't know anything about those numbers or how they became to be.
Right, but you're gonna replace some of this stuff?
We're gonna change some of the figures on
This
the,
is the 14
on
bucket?
the expenditures side. So it's less expenditures.
You're handing out new ones, or we need to get these ones?
I can tell you the different amounts and how they changed. First, I should probably tell you about the Senate bill.
Yep.
Basically, it's where the Department of Human Services assumes some of the cost of social service programs. And it's supposed to be a type of property tax relief for the county by doing this.
Yep.
And in the bill, it also has a legislative management study to it for them to, over the interim, study and determine what other costs could possibly be transferred to them in the future. So the costs that we no longer have to pay out of our budget are for foster care and subsidized adoption, medical assistance, service payments to the elderly and disabled, family preservation services, electronic benefit transfers, and TEX, which is the eligibility computer system.
Can you show us where they're at in here?
It is on
Page 26 and
the
27.
very, oh yeah, in your packet.
Well, I found it under Schedule C. I found a couple of them.
Yep. Do you want where it's at in the actual budget, or do you want where it's at in the bill?
Well, I read the bill. No, I'm talking about your budget.
Okay, so it would be page 36, right where we have those amounts listed for under expenditures for medical assistance, foster care, sped.
36.
It's page 36.
36 in your
In the packet.
Oh, how about what? what schedule or page on the,
It
on the
says
document?
Human Service Special Revenue Funds on the top,
Okay,
and then
Page.
the bottom.
Schedule C, page 16.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so you'll see where it says medical assistance, foster care, sped, those costs down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Those, you can see what we actually spent on those last year. Those are the costs that the Department of Human Service Center is now going to be taking. We won't have to pay them anymore. We had numbers in there to request initially because usually we don't get our bill for December till January, the next budget. But we found a way that we can put it back into 2015 budget, so then we can take off those first three numbers as expenses for the medical, foster care, and sped. And then on the page prior to that, Schedule C, page 16 on page 35, where if you go down about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 lines. It says computer line costs. It says $850. That will now go up down to $500 because that is that text cost or the eligibility computer system cost. So that lessens. And then down on the bottom it says EBT. That it will be $0 now because we won't have to pay that cost either. So those are basically the only changes regarding that.
So you'll provide us then with a statement identifying the savings to the county as a result of 2206?
I don't think there's a copy in your packet. We have this worksheet or spreadsheet that we have to complete for the state that identifies what our budget is for what's for 15. Then we subtract the, is it in the packet? Okay.
It's page 40 in your packet.
This one is what we give to the state, and you can see all of ours comes out of levy 1220 on the top there, the 412,445. That was our calendar year budget for 2015. So we didn't have to put any other dollar figures anywhere else because since everything comes out of that levy. Then if you go down to number 6, they're taking out the expenditures that we used to pay, and the total was $32,302 for that time frame.
Yeah. I'm referring to page 27, page 2 of the Senate Bill 2206.
Okay.
Paragraph C. A budget must include a statement identifying the total savings to the county as shown by a reduction in the amounts that otherwise would have been paid by the county to the Department of Human Services for the costs identified in subsection A.
Yep.
So, so that's a total cost as a result of 2206.
that's what this is.
Right.
Yep.
And then if you go to page,
So it's only $32,000?
yes,
All this hoopla for
Yeah.
$32,000?
For now.
for now, until
For now.
the future.
Yes.
But as you go down on this spreadsheet here, it'll show, it subtracts that $32,000.
Yeah.
Then they give us an inflator for health insurance and also for salary increase.
Yep.
And then that total, number 9 there, is what we have to, we can't go over that amount, that $395.
And that was determined by using the 2014 budget numbers, and then using
The escalator.
the escalator as well. Yep.
So the budget that we gave to you is under that amount, and we did, I don't know if all the pages are in there as far as proposed salary increases. We tried one that way, we tried one without that, and both ways were under that cap, so.
What was that again, the salary increases?
I
That's
don't know.
spelled out in the Senate bill too, I think.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
The previous salary
It-
increases.
So the,
Yeah, I thought-
It identifies a 3% salary increase in the Senate bill.
right.
I didn't know there was an option to it.
So they're submitting a budget for 390 or no?
390, that's what we're submitting our budget as. and the cap is 395,921.
But this says 2015 budget. Oh, requested 16. Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we used the figures from the 2015 budget
Yep.
to come up with the 2016 budget.
But is the carryover calculation done right?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I think that the salary cap is, the 3% increase is based on the minimum salary allowed by the state, not on the current salary paid. So, in other words, we'll use yours here. Your salary, you're 16% over the minimum. So it doesn't allow for another 3% over that. It would allow for 3% over the minimum, not 16% over the minimum. It's not from the current salary, it's from the minimum salary cap.
What does it say
Well,
now?
I
don't see
haven't seen that either.
That's the way I read it. And
Because every year, the idea is to increase it by 3% every year. At the state, they do that already. So if you're at the minimum, you're still gonna be going up every year, you're past the minimum. Because the idea is to get more to the midpoint. That's why they did that salary survey.
let me see if I can find it. Go ahead. I should listen to the rest of it.
I was gonna look in here too and see if I could identify it.
See, on the bottom of that worksheet, in my mind, there should be a budgeted appropriation as well as the expenses. And if there was a budgeted appropriation and the expenses actual came in less, then that difference between them would get carried into the next budget to reduce the mill levy.
Yep.
That money doesn't just go away.
No.
It's supposed to be carried forward, but it's not being done down on the bottom of this, on this budget sheet.
Well, and can I just interject something about the budget sheet? I had asked Sam where the figures were coming in at, because when we were given the budget sheet, we didn't put anything in that calculated some of that. Now, my understanding is that comes from what was first done here by John and Ron, or am I not correct?
No, the amount of revenue that was available for the budget is whatever was levied last year. So your expected revenue would be that amount. And then your actual expenses over or under that would be either a deficit, in which case
Carryover, or over budget,
or if you're under, which you guys are under your budget by,
Which carries over then into.
then that balance should carry forward to the next year to offset the mill levy for that department.
Right.
Correct, but I'm just stating, we're not sure where all those figures that were already built into this worksheet
This
came
formula's at the
from,
bottom.
because we didn't enter any of those. That was sent
36.
to us by Samantha. So when you're
They were
looking at
talking about
those
these
figures
formulas
at
in
the
the
bottom,
What's the
that
page
is
number?
not something we put in
36.
there. I just wanted to bring that
what page are
forward.
you on?
Well, when I'm looking at
It's on like
that-
34 and 36, and there's some on 35. Just those bottom figures are formulas.
Right.
Yeah, and they're not something that we put in. So I'm not sure, when I had asked Samantha where those figures came from, that wasn't something that we were clear on, because that was sent over to us. Not something that CNI put in.
Well, the actual expenditure, 2014, that is what was actually, that is the audited numbers for 2014. That's what you actually spent. The estimated expenditures for 15 is what was budgeted for 15. They're still estimated. They were budgeted for 15. That was your budget from last year.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so What don't you understand? I mean,
We're just telling you that we didn't enter the numbers on the bottom.
Oh, you know why? It's because the general property tax number up on the top isn't in there. If that was populated, then it would calculate the over and under and the balance. You know, way up on top, we're on the tax levy, on the 3110 tax levy, if the actual revenue from 14 and the actual revenue for 15 were in there, it would calculate the over and under and carry that balance forward to the next year.
So it's because I missed these two, is what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, and I also should tell you, we did estimate revenues, so that 390,000 we have as expenditures, we also are anticipating 61,917 in revenues.
Yeah, I saw that.
But that doesn't play into the budgetary process. That'll play in next year when you actually audited 2015. You can anticipate estimated revenues for 2000, expenditures and revenues for 2015 are the result of last year's budget. Actuals, it will become actual at the end of the year. So you can't plug in an overage now for 15. You can't amend 15 now. That will become the actual.
No, she's budgeting revenues of 60,000 for next year. So you take that away from the total expenditures, and that's what you levy, right?
We take the 390 minus the 60,000, and that's what you levy.
Right.
That's correct.
But that's coming from 2015, the year over.
That's how they determine it, though. But go ahead.
This is what we are anticipating for 16 with figures that we were given and figures that we look at. It's not the actuals from 15. I see where you're coming from. But this is what we actually anticipate we'll get in 16 from other sources that you won't have to levy.
Okay.
Looking at this page 34, so it shows the balance January 1st of 2014. There is no number shown. And there must have been a balance on January 1st of 2014, wasn't there? It seems there probably should be a number in it, whatever their balance was on January 1st of 2014.
Okay.
You need to determine and put in there.
Okay.
Is that?
Because I have no idea what it was. But
Okay.
It must have been something.
In human services?
Yeah.
$113,019.23.
So
In human services 2, human services 1 is
CWB.
30,000.
Here's
556.92.
Okay, so that would make some difference then.
That's the county welfare.
Okay, what was the number again?
Well, here's all three of them. Those are the ending balances for 2014.
Perfect.
Is that account number 4,000? That's 3110, isn't it?
Are you asking me? Yes, I do believe so.
How much? 31,
That's the number that he's talking about.
right, but is that reflected here?
Mm-mm.
See, the problem is, Troy, what you're looking at is generated from the GovernSoft program. This is the actual that we use for the audit. The numbers never jive. They don't. Because of the way closing the books out at the end of the year becomes the auditor and treasurer sitting down and comparing to each other's books and deriving a number. And when the auditors and treasurer's books don't balance, they come up with a number.
We go back and see whose reports are off, figure out where we're off, correct it.
And very seldom does that get carried into the GovernSoft software. So the GovernSoft software is, as we're using it now, is it doesn't make, you can't count on that.
Well, somebody needs to make some adjusting entries and start over anew.
That's what we're trying to do. We need to close it, we need to make every account inactive at the end, at the start of the new budget season, zero everything out and start from scratch. So, for the budget, we're using this, the treasurer's books as they were closed out for 2014, which became Harold's numbers for the audit also.
So I probably missed that in everybody's budget. I didn't realize I had to.
Yeah,
I missed
you're
that
probably
spot.
right. In every budget, it'll have to be entered.
Because, I mean, so there's $100,000 that's sitting in the bank, but it's not carried forward into the next year, then what happens to it?
It's worse than that. Here, let me just use this one account that we found here. It's called the CD Trust account. It's got $12,000 in it when they closed it out at the end of 2014. There is no CD Trust account in 15, so it got lost going into 15. But it's reflective of the dollars carried forward into the 2015 budget. So now it is no longer
Doesn't have a home.
an unencumbered. If it wouldn't have been carried forward and it wouldn't have been included in the balance for the 2015 budget, it would have been unencumbered money, and it would still have been usable to us in the budgetary process. But being it was carried forward in the grand total of the 2014 budget into 15, but not itemized within 15, it's ghost money. So it's not unencumbered, but it's not in the budget. But it is a balance it is reflective of a balance in the county treasury, basically. But it's untouchable and unusable. And there are a number of them in here, and it needs to get fixed. So when that's fixed, that number in the unencumbered number is going to rise. The balance of the account, the cash of the county will not change. The unencumbered number will come up, which will make that money usable to be moved forward into a budget in future budgets. But that's just a symptom of when we have three different systems trying to mesh together without any cohesion between them. If you change a number in GovernSoft, it doesn't change the treasurer's books and it doesn't change the auditor's books. And the fourth one is once in a while a Excel spreadsheet off over in the corner. So unless you remember to make the changes in all four of them, you're going to have four different accountings of the county. And we're not going to get it all changed. And this isn't Samantha's fault. This isn't anybody's fault. This is just a symptom of trying to grow the county from a strictly handwritten ledger into the computer era. And it started with
But they haven't made the trip yet.
They made the trip. They made the trip with here. It's a Linux software system, and we're going to use that. And then Excel works better here, and so they made the trip in jumps, but it hasn't been all brought together. And it's not. It'll get fixed. It's just going to take some time. But I want to point out it isn't Sam's fault or county's fault or anybody's fault. It's just no one can keep track of all these different entries. So now if you make one entry, you should actually make 4 entries in order to keep everything going correctly. But we'll get it fixed. It's just going to take a little time, and it might not get completely fixed this year. And unless Ron tips over, we'll have a record back.
I'm starting to tip.
So, yeah, that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. We're working on it.
That was a little sidetrack, sorry.
Well, I'm just kind of saying those bottom numbers don't reflect what we have going on right now.
And that's why I brought it up, because it didn't make any sense to me, but now I can see what's going on.
Yes.
So that was my fault that I just have to put that number in.
We had already had conversation, and I just wanted to make you guys understand that wasn't me putting something in there that makes it look really odd.
It seems like when you guys calculate your expected revenue, it seems like that should fit into this thing someplace. Like in the transfers in, or
Well, you gotta remember, this is handwritten. I did not type it in. I have it typed in back in my office, but Sam said, just go ahead, hand write it in here. That's why those figures are not even pulling into anywhere. It's
Right.
me handwriting.
No, I know.
this time.
I mean, this is a fillable PDF, right?
Yep,
I
and
mean,
then
the state's big into those.
Right, and I did that back at our office. I have that in there. But like I said, those figures weren't jiving. That's
No,
why I
my
called
point
Sam
is,
and said,
my
just
point is, where do you put your expected revenues?
down on the bottom, where will that come in?
Do you put them in that 3999 transfers in?
No.
the revenues would all be right
It's
here.
all in our county welfare board
And then all
revenues,
those are the
right?
revenues. And then,
Other revenue, that's what I'm looking for. I mean, this thing is trying to calculate what the total levy is going to need to be to run the welfare department.
but what we did is, I've got everybody's budget in a big huge spreadsheet, and I didn't send that to everybody because then things could get messed up, people could change other people's budget. So I copied their budget, sent that to them, they sent it back, and then I fill in the numbers on my side of it, on my sheet. So then it'll be doing their calculations.
See, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, I'm just asking where the revenue comes in.
Well, these, what page is that? This is just a printout of an accumulation of it when you plug these numbers into the, it's not here, a different form. So it takes into account the revenue.
Oh,
the
you're not
balance.
looking at this form when you're keying this stuff in?
No.
Oh.
No, this prints out what, as you key it in, right. Ron, you have that? We're looking on page 34, and Troy's trying to see, as those other budgets, where you would take the revenue, you would add the balance carried forward, then you would subtract that from the request, and that would give you your final appropriation. All those numbers are here, but it's done on this to start with.
That just wasn't attached to it.
Oh,
So this will be populated, but it's populated as a result of following this format.
I see.
It goes to that one.
Yeah, yeah. But, you could still do it here. It's this plus this subtracted from whatever the requested is will give you the final appropriation.
I get that, but
Yeah.
I was just looking for where that anticipated revenue came, where it showed that on that page.
It won't until that is keyed in on that page there, and that's for every
I feel like it
budget.
should show up someplace on there. I don't even see where it will show up on there.
Right. It won't show up on here, it'll just give you this will give you the final appropriation, the tax levy, the tax that needs to be levied. Here's the anticipated revenue, here's the total revenues right here. 69,917 right here.
Oh, and that'll transfer over to that?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sheet references this in and it'll say line, and then this prints it out.
Okay, I'm okay now.
You need about 4 different sheets in order to end up with this, and this is just calculating the levy.
Okay.
And then I answered my own question, girls, I was wrong on, it's on page 27, it's B, the department budget submitted by the County Social Service Board in 2016 for the 17 budget may not exceed the amount determined by using the 2015 budget as a starting point and applying the percentage salary and benefits. So it doesn't go from the minimum, it goes from
From where we are.
Yep.
And does the 3%.
So that was my fault.
Okay.
I misread that.
And basically, when they give us that pay study, they increase that by 3% for the bottom each year, so.
And you're not responsible for that sheet at all.
I was just curious how
Okay,
it
sure.
worked out.
Samantha.
Well, if you want to look at it, it's all on, this is all supplied by the state. This budget format is all supplied by the state, and every department fills it out, or every department fills out their part of it, and then it'll all go in and it'll spit it all out, hopefully in a correct form.
Yeah, hopefully.
And then just one more thing on the Senate bill, like, you know, when you're saying all this hoopla for $32,000, whatever, you know, part of all of this too is it does talk about how they're also doing this study because they're ultimately looking at how the state maybe in the future will be able to pay all of our administrative costs. They're trying to do a study to see what that's going to cost, and that's where this is coming in. You know, where they're having us do that cap worksheet and doing the inflator and whatever, for the next legislation.
There's only 53 counties in the state. I could tell them what it's going to cost.
Okay, well, just give them a call, but I'm just saying, this is part of what, you know, they're looking to do with all of this, and that's why we have to establish this cap. And they're saying how this is what, you know, with the inflator, etc. It's part of what they're looking for in the future.
The other
It
question,
wouldn't surprise me a bit if they take over all the costs that they regionalize these offices instead of having them every 20 miles.
Yeah, that's
talked
what
about
they're
that.
talking about.
Because then there could be savings.
that makes too much sense.
You're right, in the government, so.
The other
No different than the county should be regionalized. I mean, there should be 5-6 counties that go together to gain some economies of scale. But
I have one more question. The formula for determining, you could either use, it was 20 mills or a percentage of the overall county budget, whichever was the lesser. Has anybody ever determined that equation? And I can't find that in here.
it's right at the end, I think.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's in section 34, or bullet point number 34. Counties levying an annual tax for human service purposes as provided in section 56.205 may levy a tax not exceeding the lesser of 20 mills or the number of mills determined by dividing the county budget limitation in dollars as determined under the section. All that is referencing this worksheet that even if the budget was greater than
What page?
20 mills, huh?
What page is it?
Page 6 on the Senate bill itself.
Yeah.
All it's saying is you can levy this amount, and if this amount is greater than 20 mills, you can only levy 20 mills. Right?
20 is the max.
No, but no.
No,
Okay.
20 is the max.
Mm-hmm.
But if this number is less than 20, then this is the number. Then the maximum is something less than 20.
It's the lesser of that calculation or 20 mills. That's correct. So has anybody done the calculation?
No.
Because that makes a difference in how many mills are authorized.
Well, until we know the value of a mill, we won't know.
We don't know the number yet.
Yeah.
No.
If we know.
If the base year's taxable year before 2016, the base year human services county levy in dollars must be reduced the amount of human services board levy. So it's dollar, they use a dollar figure, not a mil, so you can calculate it before we know the mil.
But that's where it went from 395,000 down to 390,000, right? The
Well-
dollar decrease was the 5,000.
No,
The base year human services county levy in dollars, the base year is 2014. That's the base year.
And that was the 395,
Okay.
right?
no, this is what they're saying the limit is for 2016.
Oh,
But we start off with 2015.
You gotta go back and determine the base year, and the base year is gonna be 2014.
And then what was a mill worth in 2014?
I don't know. I just wondered if someone, in order to do the budget, before you can even start in the budget, you need to determine what the maximum mill levy is.
it's the 2000 sheet.
What was it, 14? something?
I was thinking 60. No, yeah, you might be right, yeah.
What's the total taxable value, John?
Well, this is 17,429.70. This is one of those that got printed wrong.
Yeah, for 13, it was 16,278.
There you go.
So for 14, I don't have it. Wasn't it 17?
I think it was 17 something, but that's back in
17,429.
14 is 17,429.70.
Okay.
Well, yeah, okay.
And I think there's an estimated of 17.
But what is that a dollar amount for the human services budget?
348,594.
What's that?
348,594
Okay.
is 20 mils. But they have an estimated revenue of 60,000. That's why I was looking for how that revenue that revenue needs to get to this sheet too.
It would be 18.62 mils in 14 for human services.
So as determined, or the number of, okay. May levy a tax not exceeding the lesser of 20 mils or the number of mils determined by dividing the county budget limitation in dollars as determined under section 112301 by taxable valuation of the county. That's how it's determined. So 112301,
I got it down.
Anyway, the point is, without doing that calculation, you can't do the rest of the budget because you won't know how much money there would be available.
Right.
Okay. As it relates to social service, the departmental budget submitted by the County Social Service Board in 2015 for the 2016 budget may not exceed an amount determined by using the departmental budget submitted in 14 by the County Social Services Board as a starting point, subtracting the reduction in the county's social service funding responsibility for 2015 derived from transferring the county social services costs identified in the subdivision from the County Social Services Board to the Department of Human Services, and applying the resulting amount, the percentage salary and benefits increase provided by the legislative appropriations for state employees for taxable year 15. For purposes of this subdivision, the reduction in the county social service funding responsibility derived from transferring the county social service costs identified in the subsection from the County Social Services Board to the Department of Human Services includes the following. It lists the six areas where they decreased it. So what they're saying is, you don't get credit if you're running it on 20 mils last year, and now the state is taking away the costs of those 6 items. You don't get to keep it at 20 mils because you've had a reduction in the help from the state.
Right.
Yeah. So that needs to be figured. So roughly, if you want to do it in a real rough number, 32,000 is about 2 mils. It's for a meal 1.75 of what we expect the meal to be. So more than likely your limit is going to be somewhere in that 18 and a quarter.
Okay.
If I read that correctly.
Well, the mill levy was about 18 and a quarter.
18.6.
No, I mean the limit. The limit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the limit will be that. But see, if they use 18.6, then it's going to be decreased a mil and a quarter and 3/4 from there. It doesn't. You don't use the maximum. You use the
lesser of the two.
Yeah, but of your budget in dollars. So I was using if they use the maximum. If they use the 18.6 or let's say 18.75, now the reduction will be 1.75 from there. It should be 17. I mean, this is real rough numbers, but that's what that's saying. Because you can't get credit for that wouldn't give the county any relief. Right.
So basically, instead of 20 mils off your calculations, it would be more like 18 or a little more.
They want to make sure that by the state kicking in, they don't want to get caught in the same thing they did at the schools, where the state kicked in all this money and the mill levy stayed the same. They want to make sure that the state kicks in this money and it's reflective in the social services budget. And so, yeah.
So your reduction is approximately 2 mils, and last year you did 18.62. This year you're gonna do 16.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's, I mean, that was rough numbers,
Yeah,
13,000.
rough,
It might be a deal
It's
and a
gonna be
half.
right around 17.
Yeah.
I think,
It will be the maximum.
yeah, you'll have to do do the figures, but that's what it's saying.
Okay.
And that's the same reason why they want to identify it in a statement, so that they can show everybody, that must include a statement identifying the total savings. That's not for anybody's purpose other than to the legislatures can say, well, look what I did for you. And just to show the citizens that here's a reduction from 2140 or 2206.
So we can go back and take that value of a mill in 2014 and see where we're at with our figures.
Yeah, it's just you read.
Then they had that increased cost back in there, John, so it was
Yeah, they add about 27,000 back in there, so
Yep.
the net savings only gonna be about
15,000.
Well, 15,000 for health insurance, wasn't it? And then 3%, that, another 12,000 for
Yeah, they allow for the
3%.
Health insurance was 5,400 and the salary increase was 10,300.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the total increase was 15,778. So then
$1 mil.
then the maximum
I couldn't find that page.
is actually only $16,000 less than last year.
Oh,
So it's only
$1 mil.
It's only 1 mil.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But anyway, it's in 112301 is where the
Okay.
but this worksheet does it for you if you populate the right.
yeah.
And so basically, once Sam gets everything plugged in to the worksheet, then we look at it from there.
Well,
Is that-
if I were you, Tammy, I'd plug this stuff in.
Well, I
Because then you-
did with what we
then
had,
you're
but
knowing.
I'll have to get some other figures from Sam then for.
You need to get the revenue figures maybe, but
Exactly.
I mean, all you need to do is take the mills times the taxable valuation.
Then I'll finish it up, because I have the rest on my.
And then she'll have to give you the December 31, 14 balance carried forward and the 15 carried
Yeah.
forward.
Okay.
Or you're gonna estimate the 15 carried forward.
The
You already-
estimated 15 is the budget from last year. Yeah, that's the estimated. So there's nothing to do, it's just look at the budget, what the budget was last, what we approved last year, that is the estimated 15 budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's misleading, you think you have to estimate how you're gonna end up in 15, but that's not the case. It's what we actually estimated for the budget last year is what those numbers become.
Oh.
So they're hard numbers. They're soft numbers. The audit is the hard numbers from the previous year.
Did you want to talk about the building at all, Troy?
I
Or
already did.
oh, you did? Okay, good. Did you get my pictures?
Yep,
Okay.
right there.
Oh, we allocate money for
Of course you
raincoats.
do. You even have them printed out.
No, I forwarded them to Samantha and she had them printed out.
Okay. Okay.
I called D&D Roofing when I was driving back down here from Mackville and left him a message. I'm gonna have him come and look at that building. I don't know who put the roof on or when the roof was put on there. Was
We
that
could
thing,
ask Citizens State Bank. They maybe would know. They were in
it
there.
wasn't done when you guys remodeled?
I think it was done a couple of years before it was bought. I think it was pretty
Yeah.
recent.
Yeah.
So we'll get the roof fixed and then we'll worry about the rest of it. Apparently the remodel job didn't do very much good since it didn't fix the roof at the same time.
Good. See the water running down on the walls and coming up the windows.
Yeah, who called me yesterday? Was that you?
It was me. It was like as we were standing there with plastic trying to funnel it into
Reroute
our
it
fields
into
at
a
that
pail.
time. And I just, Troy, we are calling Reverend Johnson.
They came out pretty fast, so.
They did.
Yeah, I mean, and he was curious enough to dig into it, so that was good. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Rose.
All right,
Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you guys too.
Rondell appointment.
I had a lady call me. It was the
Kent Road?
it was the South Central Human Service Center in Jamestown called, and they informed me that Ron has not been at a meeting for over a year, and they would like somebody else to take over. So I contacted Ron, and Ron said we can put it on the agenda, and if anybody else wants to go.
Well, and just to clarify some, like, on the original board, I was appointed to Community Action Region 6 and the South Central Dakota Regional Council. Now, this is a third one, South Central Human Services Center.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know I was on it. You know, I've never attended a meeting at it because it's in a separate third building. But I think that group sprung out of Community Action Region 6, maybe.
Okay.
And that Community Action Region 6 formed the South Central Human Services Center, and then I haven't attended all of that many meetings at the Community Action Region 6, but maybe they said that you're automatically a board member of the Human Services Center at that time. But so at any rate, the letter here is from Community Action Region 6, actually, and your phone call was from Trina at the different organization. So just to clarify a little bit, that, and I did make a meeting, believe it or not, at Community Action Region 6 last week, I think.
Okay.
But I'm not sure when the next meeting at the Human Services Center is. But sure, if anybody wants to go to these meetings, I would sure. You're sure welcome to stay over.
I find it pretty insulting that a organization that we're a voluntary member of and support financially is telling us what we got to do. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, and that one, I guess we don't pay any dues to.
We will be.
But right now, we don't pay any to Community Action or the South Central Human Services Center. It's to the other one that's insulting us that we pay dues to.
Yeah.
They said that if you guys have problems with your human services and you guys don't have somebody attending these meetings, then we're not getting your needs looked into and stuff like that. So
That one probably wouldn't be a bad one to have someone on the board that's active, because Southeast Human Service Center is kind of a joke as far as their administration and the way they have to get stuff done. So it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have someone that's
So if it's a joke, why do we want to go on?
Well, because they're the ones that take care of the mental health stuff. They do the mental health programming. See if there's someone from Griggs County that's sent down for an involuntary commitment for alcoholism or for some sort of mental illness that they're institutionalized, that they either spend time at the state hospital or they get sent to the Human Service Center. And it is a joke the way that the place is run, and it's tough to deal with them. So it would be beneficial, I think, to have someone on the board and show up to some of those meetings, because it's not something that's going away. The Human Service Center, there's regional Human Service Centers. There's one in Fargo, one in Jamestown, Devils Lake, Grand Forks, Bismarck, Dickinson, Williston, Minot, I suppose. And they're the ones that take care of programming for social services, evaluations and mental health evaluations. So it's something that the county utilizes it through social services and through programming, and it probably would be good to have some input on the board.
Well, then shouldn't it be a function of social services? Let's put some of the social services on the board. If it's a function of social services, then someone from their office should go there. I just find it ridiculous that we have all these baby bureaucracies that are sprung out of nowhere, that have no basis in the century code dictating policy. That's not the way it's supposed to work. And the more that we acknowledge their presence, the more it boosts their confidence they actually have some kind of authority. I don't get it. I mean, it was just 2 meetings ago where we had the NDSU sit down here and try to define the rules and regulations we got to go by based on a position paper with the North Dakota Association of Counties, which has no relevance in anything, and we just seem to be, and if we bow to these things, and then all of a sudden we're obeying rules and regulations that aren't based in any law. And so if it helps social services, then it should be part of them, but I don't think it should be a demand on the county commissioners that have no knowledge of what's needed in social services to attend these.
Oh, and I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying that we should cave into their demands. I'm just saying it probably wouldn't be helpful in case we have problems that we have someone on the board that they can listen to. But
what problems could arise out of us not being they certainly can't deny services based on the meeting attendance.
No, and they won't, I'm sure. But I don't know. I think the operation of that facility is a joke, and I think maybe some input from someone that has a little bit of intelligence probably would help the operation of that system. I think is what I'm trying to say.
If the people that are running
you can join her, John.
If the people that are running that thing can't do a decent job, having a board member come down there once a quarter is not going to change it.
Yeah.
Unless you fire somebody.
So, I mean, I don't think we should hold Ron to attending meetings that he was never even...
He was never appointed, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, he was self-appointed because how do you grow a baby bureaucracy unless you have members, and so you just throw them on there.
You want to be on there?
Absolutely not. And I'm quite sure they don't want me on there.
That's what I was thinking.
I was hoping.
You'd be good at it.
No, as soon as I start having secret meetings, I didn't attend.
So should we leave it the same, or should I be talking to social services, seeing if one of them wants to be on, or what?
Talk to them and find out if they use the services.
Okay.
I don't know why we care what they do in Jamestown.
Okay.
I would like somebody to explain that to me. Okay.
Well, I can tell you, I guess I don't use the services per se, but most of the people that are sent for drug and alcohol evaluations out of the court, that's where they go, is the Southeast Human Services for their drug and alcohol evaluations, because that's the closest place, and it's, of course, the people that don't have the money, they base it on a sliding scale, so they are subsidized for that evaluation, so they go down there for that evaluation.
So maybe it's not the social services I should be talking to.
Well, no, social services uses it too.
Okay.
Talk to see you.
But they just bill us for it anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
I mean, I don't know why we need to be on the board. I can't hang around with psychologists and those kind of people anyway. They make me mad.
I'm scared they're going to start studying me.
Maybe they already are.
They're pretty soon on inmates.
It's W.
Cheeks, didn't hear anything? Oh,
I don't think we need to worry about doing anything until next year. I don't think it'd be appropriate to go back and re-levy that tax for 2014. I think it should be put on for 2015. I talked to Ron and John about it too, and I think they're in agreement.
well, there's got to be a right and a wrong way to do it. What's the right way? Or is it whatever we want to do? I mean, that's not how these things are done.
Yeah, I did talk to Farah, and she had really intended that she was doing it for 2015.
Okay.
And it hadn't occurred to her that we were going to put it on 2014. She said, boy, that caused a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So she was anticipating would be
Okay.
there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we have a motion to approve that? Because we didn't approve it at the last meeting.
Didn't do anything?
Well, we won't approve it. It'll just be included in next year's tax evaluations. Assessments.
Well, we approve the assessment. Oh, we'll approve it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
Well, when the properties get assessed for the next year's taxes, then they'll be assessed and
Then it'll be approved
Okay,
with
so
the
it'll
rest.
be at,
flow seamlessly in there.
so it'll be at next year's tax equalization
Yeah,
meeting. Okay.
right. Because if you
Just like magic.
Okay.
if we were gonna back assess it, you have to go through the whole process of advertising the equalization meeting again, and it's just a big drawn out affair.
Yeah. it is.
Yeah, that's worth $14.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamie.
All right, first of all, I'd like to introduce to you guys my new assistant. This is Leanne Gilbertson.
We already got her.
She started on Monday.
Hi. Hi. Nice to meet you. I met you already.
I guess I'm looking for permission to have her become a notary, so I asked that the county pay for the stamp and county pay for the bond for her to become a notary for myself and for the rest of the county employees, I guess.
Also move.
Moved by John, second.
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. Any discussion? Is there any discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries.
The next thing I have is just those road easements that the water board has been wanting to do, and I guess on the rest of the roads in the county too. We kind of started working on them. I sent a draft of one of the easements to Tom Moe to get his opinion on them, and I have not heard back from Tom, but we're going to be working on those. That's a project that Leanne and I will be working on as we can get to it and get it done. Specifically, I guess, at the request of the water board, we're going to try to work in those easements where that new drain is going in first and get those taken care of. Next thing with the road issue, I'm not really sure what that one was.
The Nick Vincent.
Oh, okay, that's right. Nick Vincent contacted me last week or the week before to talk about who is supposed to be taking care of that road that goes out to John's seed plant and out to the ready mix plant. And speaking with Phyllis and doing a little research, it appears that that road was granted back to the county back in 1937 from the state.
19 what?
1937, I believe. That's the last transaction.
Really?
I thought that was done when they built the bypass.
That's what I thought too, but it doesn't appear that that is the last entry. The west part was given to the counties, and the county and the state retained the east side of the city. So it appears that it's the county's duty to repair that road and keep that road in shape out there.
When I moved here, that road was closed.
And it was closed. So it's up to you guys, I guess, if you guys want to fix it or put it on the private businesses.
Well, I gotta refuse myself. I'm part of that. So I'll step out of the room.
So it's up to you guys, but that's, as far as my research and Phyllis's research, that's what it appears like. It's county road.
Don't those properties all have access to the highway?
I'm not 100% sure.
Well, we need to know that before we can.
Well, and I'm not looking for any action today from you guys. I actually was just going to open up for discussion and see what we have for alternatives, I guess.
Well, I don't know why the road was reopened. I guess that would be a Wayne question. We should have talked to him. We should have talked about this when he was here.
Yeah, I've been out there sometimes. I know there's that approach that the ready mix plant has, but it looks like from John's place that you have to drive through the ready mix plant.
Yeah, I think you have to.
And so there's no approach unless you drive through.
So they're driving across somebody else's property.
You have to. You have to either take this road or drive across somebody
Right.
else's property.
Yeah, it looks like that's the only access. And I'm sure I don't know if the highway department would grant any other access, and I don't know how much property that is out there owned by other people. So
The city limits ends at the township road there,
I believe so, if I remember right.
the mile line.
Yep.
So Griggs is on the city.
Well, from the appearance of the map, that the DOT provided, actually that road is counties from the intersection where the old Farmers Oil is at west. But I don't want to part of that city because that's still within the city limits.
Yeah, that's not a county road there.
So
DOT map can't be right.
So I think you're right about Wrighton's is out of city limits, and I think so west of that intersection, I think it should be county road.
So we just need to gravel it or what?
I'm not exactly sure if it needs to be gravelled or what, but yeah, I mean it needs to be maintained. I think it's full hole, so I'm guessing gravelled and maintained, or take a maintainer down around east.
Okay, well.
But maybe we should leave it off the agenda or put it on the agenda next meeting when we can talk with Wayne about it and
Yep.
see what have Wayne take a look at it and see what can be done.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have, I think.
Okay, John, get back in there.
Okay, so move that till next meeting.
State Board of Equalization, that's just a notice that they're having a meeting.
Okay.
Concrete bid opening.
I got one.
What's that?
Concrete bid opening.
Oh.
Oh, do they need a bond to do this? Do they need to be bonded to do this? Probably, yeah.
Licensed and bonded, they should be,
What's that?
they should be licensed and bonded.
I knew they should be licensed. I didn't know a performance bond was required. I meant to look at the century code to see if it was or not.
I think it's just a bid bond that's required.
I did want to be free if we don't have to add cost.
Right.
Did I not put everything
Okay,
in?
I got a bid here from PK Construction for $48,000. Is that the same number?
Yeah, I remember. Probably it was probably something.
Okay. That's the only bid we have?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't bid on it?
No.
Well, maybe Ron, maybe you were explaining to me.
Well, the only thing really is that we told them they had to do it within 30 days of contract award. And I meant to bring a letter of intent along so that we can approve that letter of intent and email it to them or fax it to them today, telling them that we're going to enter into a contract so the clock starts now and they got 30 days from now, which would make it September 7th. But I forgot to bring that letter of intent. Otherwise, somebody has to prepare a contract, I guess, and if that's, we don't want to wait 2 weeks or 3 weeks to prepare a contract and then tell them they got 30 days from that date, because we're tight against time already. So I could rough out a letter of intent and have Troy sign it, and then send it to them. Or I don't know, maybe we could call them today and say, could we tell them verbally we have accepted your contract? You start scheduling your crews, arranging your equipment, ordering critical materials.
Well, I think that would be fine to do that.
Could we call him and then send a letter too, so that we have it
send
on
a letter.
Yeah, that
documentation?
might be good.
Yeah.
Just call them,
Yeah,
let them
call
know that
them.
they.
Well, there must be a canned contract someplace that we can shoot on.
We should
I
be
mean,
able, I should be able
why
to
not
do it
just-
over the weekend.
Grab a contract and sign the contract and ship it out there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if you can get that, then we could get the signed
Okay.
contract out Monday or Tuesday or something.
I would make a motion then that we allow Troy to sign the letter of intent and the contract.
We don't need a letter of intent if we're gonna send out the contract. I don't think, do we, Ron?
No, but then we accept this bid and
Yep.
and sign the contract and give them notice that start immediately.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ron. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Did you get that motion?
Nope, but I'm gonna go back on.
Get after it.
The motion was that we
Is there any
accept,
further-
accept the bid and issue a contract.
And notify them that, of that fact, that we have accepted their bid, we'll be bidding a contract. And either me or John can call them and tell them that too, that they should get started. Probably you, John, if you want to.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. John?
Aye.
Dale?
Aye.
Ron?
Aye.
Troy votes aye. Motion carries. Type that motion in and then read it back to us.
Okay, motion by Wakefield, seconded by Dahl to accept the bid and issue a contract and notify them that they have been accepted and to start construction.
Yeah, no, and the name of the construction company notified.
PK.
PK Construction. Yeah, it says PK Construction, Bren Construction.
They must be gonna work on it together.
Yeah, I think they are partners.
Okay.
P as in Paul, K as in Cropline.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. New courthouse, old courthouse, Ron?
You can use that back to her. The only thing I was thinking, at the meeting I missed, I guess there was discussion that Connie and Bob were supposed to prepare an reimbursement request for all of the expenses done to date on the new courthouse, or on the EOC center, I mean. And if that's the case, I haven't seen anything on it, and I just don't know if there's any progress being made on it.
Yeah, we can't wait until approaching the end and submit this all at once for fear that there's more information needed and we miss a deadline. So this needs to be an ongoing process. I think 2 meetings ago, when we had Connie and Bob here, we instructed them to send in any requests that were valid and that were completed, and to my knowledge, that hasn't been done yet. So we need to, I guess we need permission there to talk to Connie and Bob and see why that hasn't been done. So it is can Ron and I talk to them and find out the stats that where we're at with that? That's okay.
Absolutely. I don't think we need a motion to do
No,
that.
let's move it forward. We'll just find the stats. I talked to Omar about the generator, and he's going to. The parts are here. He's going to get the parts put on, and then as soon as electricians are ready, we'll get someone up here and run it, test run it. That part of it should be done. Schultz was supposed to show up this week. He didn't, so maybe he needs a phone call again. I've called him 3 times this week. He's getting sick of me, I think. There was a water leak in here.
Yeah, there was. Travis called me Monday, and the condensate line from the air conditioner in that computer room, it somehow been blocked or something, and it overflowed. And Travis was really concerned because he had a lot of boxes stacked in that area. And he said somebody had gone in and mopped it up and moved the boxes around. And he thought there was damage to one piece of equipment, maybe 2 pieces of equipment. And he's going to write up a list of that equipment that he thinks should be replaced. But whoever fixed it had put a bucket there. And it turned out later that was Bergstrom Electric. They had done some work Friday, then when they came in Monday, they had just hooked it up electrically, and then they noticed that the water had overflowed. So they cleaned it up and put that bucket there. And then later, Travis said he noticed that it was leaking again. And it really should be Schultz that fixes a condensate line, but,
I stopped in yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Travis was there, he put a T in it, it wasn't vented.
well,
It was a long drain line and it was just airlock.
Like this, and then,
Yeah, airlock, so I think he said he put a T in and vented it.
Okay.
yeah, he mentioned that he was gonna do that if it was, so maybe that's fixed it, and maybe it's done.
Who designed the building to have water lines running through the computer room?
Well,
It's a condensate.
It's a condensate line for the air conditioning.
yeah.
We just drain into the floor drain somewhere, or into a,
It goes into that janitor sink.
yeah. And really not Schultz's responsibility either. He didn't install any of the equipment, he just came here to, finish it up, yeah.
Yeah, the mechanical contractor
Yeah.
normally would have
Yeah.
had to make sure the line was driving.
So that- And then the door, how are we doing on that?
It's still, I believe that the door and most of the hardware has arrived,
Okay.
but the lock set hasn't arrived yet. And they get their shipments every Friday, so they were pretty optimistic it would get here today. We could ask them to ship the door and hardware without the lock set, but there's probably not that much hurry for it really. If it waits another week, it's just gonna take a few hours to put it on, so I've been just waiting till the lock set and the coat hook gets here and ship them all together.
Okay. There possibly is one problem that needs to be dealt with, and Troy and I experienced it when we were in there the other day. When the air conditioners are running, it's very noisy in that office adjoining the wall that's the air conditioners or the units are mounted on. So I think they need to be. It's a high frequency vibration hum, and I think they need to be shock mounted to some extent.
That's Jamie's office, right?
Yeah. So that might be something that we need to look at, because it was aggravating.
It was noticeable.
Yeah.
But that's, something we can deal with
Right.
down the road.
And it appears like when they put those hard mounts on the wall, they didn't isolate them. So I think we just need some isolators on there.
Under the units.
Yeah, under the units and maybe, yeah. Because it was a high frequency.
Be sensitive to this too.
I guess we'll find out.
I think we could aggravate it a while. Somebody might get charged with a higher crime than we're supposed to. Aggravated all
State's attorney's mad.
Can't be like neighbors was working for Dennis. The air brake alarm was going off in one truck. Let's hear that, we throw it out to Dennis.
I've got one thing for you guys, but I'd like to call an executive session because I think it goes towards consultation for potential litigation under the new courthouse and old courthouse.
Okay.
It'll take 5 minutes, but I think it should be an executive session.
I would make a motion that we recess to move into executive session.
Been moved by John that we recess the commissioners meeting and go into executive session. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Call the meeting back to order. New courthouse, old courthouse, anything else on that? Okay. I see we have the 2015 budget in front of us. Is that right? Or is this?
Yep, that's for the 2015. When we were going through the budget, John was missing some pages, so he asked
Not
that
on the
I...
agenda.
No, it was just kind of a side thing.
No, this isn't the budget we're doing. This is last year's budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just gave you guys a copy so that you have a complete copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
His book was
Not part of the
missing.
agenda. We just determined that the budgets that we've been given prior weren't complete.
There were pages missing.
Pages missing.
But not, she checked on every single page.
So now if you look on the front page and it says 16C, there's a 16C there.
Okay.
It should be complete now.
We're having problems in our
Okay.
I
You're
guess-
not ready to talk about budgets yet.
We've
Okay.
been talking about it for a long time, but it's a long circles yet.
Okay.
But they are due Monday from the department heads, and you said you'd get a majority of them in Monday, but maybe not all of them.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens.
Okay.
And then I'll plug the numbers in and then we'll.
Yeah.
Next one.
Okay.
There was page 53 and on. Did you guys read all those?
Oh. Yeah, that wasn't on the agenda, was it? Or is that new courthouse,
This is-
old courthouse?
Yeah, this is new courthouse, old courthouse.
Oh. What is all that?
Just insurance.
I just got it in the mail.
We have insurance in place? Is that what that means?
Mm-hmm.
For the building?
Yep,
Through Farmers Union?
yep.
Why is decorating by Charlie the name insured?
Is there a judgment against this thing?
I don't know. I don't think
So I
so.
guess I didn't read this.
That was a painting contractor.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
Why is he?
I looked at it and I couldn't figure out what it was.
I didn't look at it.
Yeah,
All right,
I didn't look at it either.
hang on.
Who's the
It's
agent?
named as an additional insured.
Well, I'm not sure.
Who's the lost payee?
It looks like decorating by Charlie.
No, he's the insured. The insured should be the county,
Yeah.
and if there's a,
Oh, is this? Was he asked to provide this?
No, we're insured through Bank Forward for the building.
what is this?
I don't know what it is. Where'd you get this?
I got it in the mail.
Okay.
I think by accident.
Yeah, I do too.
I think this is proof of insurance for decorating by Charlie when he was working here.
Yeah, I think so too. 4/1/2015.
Policy
He was.
contractors pack. Commercial general liability.
I wonder if he didn't have to provide insurance when he was working here last year, so they just accidentally sent this again.
Did the renewal, yeah.
I bet that's what happened.
Farmers Union likes to send paper.
Yeah, they do. We could call the agent. It's Tom Sanders down there and find out. Yeah,
Page 57, additional insured owners receives contractors. Yeah. It's just showing additional, it's just, he was on the policy, he was showing us at one time, and evidently, when they renew his insurance policy, they just, it doesn't cost nothing to send a additional insured letter.
It doesn't cost Charlie anything,
No.
it's Farmers Union,
Right.
but he should have notified them. It's like when people pay off their cars and they
Yep.
keep getting their insurance reinstatement letters.
Yeah. Yep.
And you should, when you pay off your vehicle, you should call the insurance company and tell them that the bank's no longer the lost payee on it. Otherwise, if you get in an accident, it'll come with our name on it.
Yeah.
But the people don't do it. I usually end up doing it.
So that's a non-event.
Okay. Anything else?
Did you contact these people, or am I supposed to contact?
I've got a non-agenda item that's really quick, and it's probably just a question for John. What kind of reports do you want from the water board? My mother has actually been hired to take over David Hoberson's role for the water board.
They don't play the water board.
What kind
At
of,
the last two meetings.
so,
I'll tell you anything.
she was wondering what kind of reports the county commission wants from the water board.
I don't, I mean, the only request we made of them was when.
To do it timely.
Yeah.
That's what I told the
Yeah.
secretary there. It's like, the reports we've got were fine, just
Yeah.
David needs to produce them when we need them.
You know, if the year ends on December 31st in their books, we don't want to be waiting for their year end.
In February.
Well,
July or something.
July,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that was,
That was all I had.
That was when Jacobson was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all we referenced, we hadn't received the.
That's what I told Marla when she was filling in, but we just wanted the stuff done finally.
Just the year-end stuff, that's all. We just care about having that stuff, so
Yep.
the auditor can submit them to the auditor.
We don't have any supervisory control over the water board other than the board members.
Me and her have been in contact about the budget forms and stuff like that that we need, so.
Okay.
You know. No supervisory control at all. I won't make a motion that we adjourn.
Been moved by John that we adjourn. Is there a second to that motion?
I'd second.
Seconded by Dale. Is there any discussion? Is there any discussion? Is there any further discussion?
I did already.
Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned at 3:53.
Next meeting, August 21st.
Next meeting will be August 21st at 1 p.m.